Hello, hello. I am okay, still getting set up. Um, yeah. Today is the final day that my son is home from school. School starts tomorrow, and I cannot tell you how happy I am that school starts tomorrow. I love my son with every ounce of my being, but I am very, very happy that school starts tomorrow. Yeah, should put a message in chat so everyone knows there's a good chance of there being an interruption or 12 today. But, you know, that's what real life is like. And this is my real life. So, here we go. All right. So, I found a picture that I wanted to try painting. It's very, very simple. It's just a lot of really gorgeous mountains. And I want to actually there's a photographer that took it, and I want to, when I'm done with this, I'm going to read off his name and make sure that I put it in the description or something when I post this so that he gets credit. Yeah. So just taping down for the moment. Okay. So this picture that I found is a bunch of just misty mountains, but they're all beautiful, different colors, like pinks and purples with like a yellow sky. It's really kind of fascinating. And it has like a nice big dark mountain in the front with like a hiker on it too. But I was intrigued by the sky and getting that to work. So, and the photo is by Simon Matzinger. So I need to make sure that I remember that and give him photo credit for it. But just a practice session for me, and it's really going to look fairly simple, I think. But I think it's deceivingly simple. Just I'm not sure that it's as simple as it appears. So let me just put a message in chat 1 second. Just to give everyone a heads up. Because it's really going to happen. I told him I was closing my office door, and then he came and started knocking. And I got, what did you say, Mama? What? And yeah. So I think that's the kind of day that it's going to be. And I think, yeah, that's probably just the kind of day it's going to be. So, oh, maybe actually, do I want to, nope. Where are you? Maybe I'll work with you today. Maybe I'll work with both of you today. And you for small things, if there are any. Oh yeah, the hiker in front. Okay. I need to move this picture. Open image, a new tab. So I have that. And I need to pop this one out. so I can have the image. There we go. All right, so that's today's thing, Misty Mountains. And I'm going to clean my palette and get my paint ready for this one. Or get at least some of the paint ready for this one. I'm not going to be using any gold. I don't actually remember what I used the gold for, but I have not been in my office. I'm not going to be using any greens or browns. So, yeah. Did everyone have a good weekend? We were very social. Very, very social. Which is not like us at all, but it was fun. And then my friend and I went to a food truck festival. Saturday and Sunday, actually. And my kid, he's so much fun. Okay. Well, let's see if that works. Need to move you. I really look forward to being able to come into my office and have things like, you know, where I put them before. That's gonna be a lot of fun for me. All right. So as I was saying, this is just it's like a pretty simple mountain scene. And there's like a blue sky up here. There's like a yellow kind of sunset, maybe the beginning of a sunset. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different mountains in a row that come down, and it goes from like a light pink to like pinkish purple to dark. So that's what we're going to try and do today. But I need to get paint ready first, or I said I was going to, right? So the yellow is very like nickel azo, actually. So I'll get that one ready. And I need to move this microphone, so hold on 1 second. Sorry if it makes noise, but I couldn't move my arm. All right, so nickel azo, let's see, for the sky. I think we'll use some cerulean today. And then for this mountain range, we'll continue to add purple into it, but we're going to start with, I think we're going to start with a really light value Quin Rose, and then add some Quin Purple in as we go. Oh, can actually even do a mix of Quin Rose and Cobalt Violet. That might be really good. And then, of course, we're going to come back. I think I'm going to stick with Indigo for the foreground mountain. And those will be the majority, the main players, and we'll just kind of play along in between. So I just want to get some stuff prepped so I'm not scrambling when it comes time to use it. And there's some equipment outside because they're still working on the road. So if you hear anything extra, that's what that is. And I apologize, but I can't control construction equipment. All right, so I'm going to start with some Queen Rose. It's going to be a really light value. But I think I'm going to also dip in some of that cobalt violet. I might, for this first layer of mountains, I might have to, add some yellow into it actually. Too much yellow. A little bit more pink. That might do. No. No, that won't do. A little bit better. Oh, and now I've just gone and ruined it. I dipped into the wrong one. I was looking at the picture and not the paint. Now it's far too dark. All right. I'm going to go backwards a bit. Come back in. Some Queen Magenta. Dip into the Cobalt Violet. There we go. And then I think if I just add a lot of water, then we'll have a fairly light value. Yeah. And then I think if when I go over the yellow with this, then we'll get that like kind of orangey color that it is. It's not quite, so I'll just wait until that background is done and then we can adjust it from there. So that went off the rails far too quickly, but all my fault. Okay. So those are the main colors. I'll add the cerulean later. Get stuff off my board before I start. And just gonna wet it all down. Lots of water. It's pretty warm today, so I expect things to dry a lot quicker than normal. So I'll just make sure that this is sufficiently wet. Evenly wet too. Because I don't want any puddles. And we'll start at the top and work our way down. Like that. Put you over there. So that's the plan for today. Take some cerulean. And there's a lot of like very stripy clouds. I'm going to take this at an angle so that I can kind of have a little bit more control. So there's like a lot of stripy clouds in here, and things are going to move and they're going to dry fairly quickly. And I'm just kind of, I'm not trying to do exact, but trying to get the feel for what the sky is now. So just come in with some water and kind of soften these edges. Don't want a lot of like spider webs or whatever. Not really sure what they're called, or if there is an official name for them. There's a time when they're really good to have, and then there's a time when I don't want them. Now is that time I don't want them. I'm just going to play around and move the ink around the page a little bit. And then from there, I'm going to have a nice clear break of water. I'm going to kind of use this as my like guide for where I need to come in with some yellow. And then I'll just keep this area in between here with clean water and just take any paint that gets in there out of the way. So blue is not welcome, nor is yellow. Yeah. And I think I might go a little bit deeper with the yellow kind of in the middle of this area. And it's actually fine for me to go down in this like first mountain range area. Just going to keep that clear, continue to keep that clear, because I don't want any green skies. And actually in the picture, some of this area is a little bit very light, very, very, very light value purple. Not as like very light value like that. Very watery. And purple and blue go okay, so just gonna kind of dip in here a little bit and add some of that in, just in some places. And then where it isn't, smooth it out with a clean brush. So, and that's going to dry a lot lighter. So it'll just give the hint of some color there. And do I want, let's see, this yellow kind of crept up the darker layer. So I want to kind of soften this first. Yes. I want to soften that. And then I think I'm going to go crazy from equipment. I think I'm going to add in just a tad of Aussie red gold. And then just come down here to kind of get some more depth while still keeping that kind of nice fade and the space between. And I think that's fairly good for now. I'm going to dry it. All right. So now I like the blue. I'm going to come in and deepen a couple of areas on it. I like this slight purple, kind of matches the picture a bit, kind of gives it like more of a misty feel for me at least. And obviously these white spaces will be the cloud. This dried a lot more muted. Almost like it was a tint and there was white in it than I was expecting. So I think what I'm going to do is come in with a brighter yellow on a second layer and just kind of really lightly glaze over that. And then that's it. I am noticing that I did not leave enough space really for the mountains, or the number of mountains that I have. So I actually think when I go in with this lighter yellow color, I'm going to have to go further up. So I'm going to do this in 2 steps because I don't want, oh no, actually I don't have to do this in 2 steps. I'm going to wet this again and then deepen up the blues up here. I'm going to leave these as they are. And then I will very slowly and hopefully in a very controlled manner bring up some lighter yellow. So then that I can bring up the mountains a little bit higher. So about this much of the picture is mountains. So I really made my sky way too big. But I don't really want to change it. I kind of like how it is. So I'll probably just have less mountains or smaller mountains, more close together. I'm sure I can take away 1 or 2 of those that are in the picture. And yeah, just come in with a brighter yellow and come a little further up. Again, hopefully in a very controlled manner. But so going in with water, I'm going to wet this down very lightly. Hopefully not move a lot of paint as I do it. And I can see that I'm not actually getting a lot of paint on the right side. My brush is drying before it gets there, so not drying, but it's not holding. There we go. Wasn't holding as much water as I was hoping, or as I was expecting. So, and it doesn't really matter down here, but I don't want any dry lines, so it gets wet too. And I don't want this as drenched, I don't think, as last time. Because I don't want the color to move as much. So I'm just going to very quickly and lightly go in with the colors that I want in the areas that I want. And let that play around there. Oh, that one needs more water. And it's already starting to dry up here, so I just want to kind of give the illusion of the clouds being like between the deep sky and kind of, you know, kind of being misty. So where this is kind of a little dry, I'm going to take a smaller brush with some water and just kind of soften these edges a little bit. Not too much water, but just so it's not as sharp. But the shape is still there. Just kind of soften the edges there. Not for everything either, but I think more for like the bottom of these. And hopefully, are you going to play? You are going to play. Yay! So that there's a little bit of differentiation. Is that a word? So there's a little bit of difference between like the kind of levels of blue. So the clouds are like interrupting the sky, which is kind of what I want. I want to keep that light area. Like that. And then maybe come in just in a few areas here. Deepen this up. And soften this here. Okay. So now as I did that, the rest has it hasn't fully dried, but it's dried more than I would like. So back in with a little bit more water. And I might have a dry line, but I think I can handle where it is because it will be very light and in like a cloud area. So I think I'll just do that and kind of follow along with it. And now I'm going to take a lighter value. I need to put the fan on. Oof, it's hot. I'm going to grab a lighter value yellow. Something really bright. I think like a lemon yellow. And I'm going to bring this guy up. So the main color will be here, and then these two will merge beautifully together. And then just grab a little bit on my brush. I'm going to go a little bit higher. And I'm hoping if I just kind of glaze over where this blue is, I will not get a green. And it will just kind of stay, yeah, kind of misty. I think that's good. And this has a brightness and it's kind of fading down. That's what I was really looking for. And this is glazing over the previous yellow really nicely. So I'm going to dry that because I like how it looks and I want to keep it. Okay. I just thought I should probably print this picture out. That might be easier. So, A4, I want it landscape. I want, okay, for whatever reason it's not going to scale the way that I want it to, but that's fine. Let me use the system dialog, that's easier. Page setup, landscape, paper size, A4. Main, yes, I just want this like to be just a quick, normal. Usually it gives me a preview, but it didn't on this one. Yeah. Just so I have something in front of me and I don't have to keep looking up to this picture. And then I can also even show you kind of what is inspiring me today. If you could continue printing, that would be great. What are you doing? All right. So this is kind of, well, the colors didn't come out the same at all because in the picture this is really yellow and far less orange. But this is kind of where we're going today. And I'm just going to put this on the side so that I can look at it. And as you can see, like what is there versus what I have now is the same and not the same. Making it my own. That's it. So now I'm going to start with that first mountain. And I'm going to add a lot of water right here. Test this color. It's more pinky than I think I need, but I think when I put it over the yellow, then we'll start to see some kind of like magic. So it still is going to be far, yeah, far lower than I think it should be, but yeah, it is what it is. So just start with the mountain range here-ish. And then this one is a fairly kind of flat mountain, so I have a lot of water on my brush. I'm just gonna kind of take it and make a mountain-like shape. This has a dip, so I'm gonna put the dip in there. And then continue like that. And then I'll take a little bit of this stronger value and I'm going to drop it in places along the top. Not everywhere, but more here and in like valleys, right? And then a clean brush with water. And I'm just going to share that out. And bring this further down so I don't have any lines. And where I can see some drying, I'll come in with just some water here. Just kind of even that out a bit. I want it to dry evenly and not have these dried marks on them. Like that. I'm just trying to blend out any like really sharp lines that I'm not a fan of. Like that. So that's the first mountain in the background. And so now the color becomes a little bit more purple. So I'm going to very slowly add in some purple. And I'm going to go in for the second mountain. And I don't want too much water, but I want enough water to last the whole way. So I guess too much is better than not enough. And then this one is just going to start right around here. And I'm just going to look at the picture and kind of drag my brush and kind of follow what I think the shape is. But it doesn't have to be exact also. And then put a lot of water on my brush and come back and even all of this out. And hopefully it's not dry over here. All right, it's a little bit of dry, but manageable dry. And then just drag this out. And you can see like a little bit, I'm going to come back and then a little bit of color as well, because it is actually deeper on this side and this has started drying. So just want to wet that up a little bit. Like that. And I think I'm going to come in and just deepen up this section here. Just a little bit. It is a little bit darker and kind of deeper in the photo. A little bit more purpley too. And I could add some more purple in there, but I kind of want this to be more even than not. And that can be lighter. And as we come forward, we're just going to get a little bit deeper with each one. And I can see this looks like way more like orangey on the screen than it does like in person. But I should finish my sentences. But I think it'll be good no matter what. Alright, so then the next mountain is just slightly deeper in color, and it comes over in this area. So I'm going to come in with a little bit more purple. Mix that in. And I'm going to start from this side because it actually doesn't go all the way across. It just comes very kind of close up here. And yeah. So and then kind of fades off this way. So next I'm going to take some water and just kind of fade this down. Come back up, a little bit of paint up here. Right. And now we're going to kind of go into like the more dusty purple. So what color is this again? Well, it's more maroon. Do not want that. So I'm going to grab some purple, add it into here. And now we're going like more purple than not. But it kind of needs to be dusty. What color are we now? I think I'm going to add a little bit of paint spray. kind of deepen the color, like take away the bright a little bit from it, and then that will be more kind of dusty looking. And we have one more layer here, and then another layer like in this purple, but darker. So I'll add more Payne's Gray at that point, and then we'll do the mountain in the front. So I hear the pitter patter of little feet. Yes.
You open my Lego.
Yes, I can open the Lego. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you shut the door for me, please?
See?
See me's okay. Thank you. Interruption number 1. All right, so back over on the right side, because this also doesn't come over here. It stops like maybe around this area. So I'm going to come kind of up a bit and just going to kind of draw in a little flat-ish mountain. And then this is going to come over here, up, and then down. And it's going to fade off. So with this one, I'm actually going to use paint and come back in and go back over it to make sure it stays wet. Same level of moisture everywhere. And then bring it down. I want to make sure that there's a little bit more deep here. To kind of cover that line. And just sporadically in other areas. And blend it out with some water. Okay. Give that a dry, and then the next one. All right. Now I can see that line there, but I am going to have something coming in front over here. So I think the little bit of line that you can see still, I'm not going to worry too much about. So get some purple. And now we're doing just purple. I'm not going to add any cornrows into it, because this is supposed to be deeper and more in front. So I'll just add some Payne's Gray. A little bit more than that. Yeah. How are we with... Should be okay. And this one is going to be different because it's just like a mountain just in the front. And so I'm going to have to be careful about like where it ends, right? So I think I'm going to come over here this time, and then this comes over here and about here. I'll draw that out there, and then it comes down a bit here. A couple of little like that, and then down this way. And again, I'm going to use more paint, not just water, and make sure that I get the kind of depth that I want, the kind of deepness, so you can tell it's closer. I'm just going to kind of bombard these areas here with paint and water. Just really at the top, because there will be another mountain in front of it, like that. And that front mountain is going to be, I'm going to make that with indigo. So I'm going to give that a second to dry on its own and blend. And I'm going to take over the purple that was here and give a nice creamy mixture of indigo. And I think I'll dry it now. All right. So now we're on the final layer. And I really didn't leave like too much space. There's a lot more mountain in the picture than I'm going to do. Yeah. So I'm going to start up here. I kind of need to plan just a little bit. Start up here and then come down here. There's like a little valley. And then it's not, it comes back up a little bit and down again. Over, down, up and across. So this one, because it's in the foreground, I'm going to do in a couple of different layers so that I can get a lot of depth in there and a lot of like deep where there should be deep. I don't want it to be just all flat one color. So I'll just do multiple layers on this one. And dry. All right. Now, if we look back at the picture, there's like, you can see a lot of variation, and some, you can tell where there's, it could even be snow, or if the rock is pulling through, it's not in shadow, it's in light. There's just little variations here and there. I actually did not notice that this was two separate before. So I'll fix that when I come back in. And this, just kind of continue this way with some paint. And the final thing will be the little hiker guy. So I expect like a couple of different levels. I'm not going to do it exactly like the picture, because this is practice, and I've already strayed and kind of given it my own flavor. I don't know, style. I'm going just for, not for complete realism here also. So yeah, I'm gonna come up and just make some of these like darker areas so that you can see the difference, right? See me? I love you too, but now is not the time. Precious. And this is all deep and dark. And as I'm going through, I'm also going to come up kind of and make it a little bit more alive. And leave some crevices here and there. And this is a pretty concentrated paint, so I won't have to do too much to this. Just gonna want to make it a little bit more chaotic. And then, so over here, I've got a little kind of some areas where there's some light poking through, and I want to leave those. And then, let's see, over here when it starts to go down, this is all black. And then I've got a little bit coming here. Our little hiker guy is going to be in this area. And some spacing down. And then from here, this is going to just go like this. But not as straight. Add some life in there. Things that look like trees and such. And that I'm just going to leave alone. So there was like an area there. Again, not going exactly as it looks, but kind of trying to keep the idea of what it is like alive, just in my way. Yeah. Might not even do very many more layers, but I might add some texture into these like lighter spots. Actually, I can just do that now. But I'm not going to go, I'm going to add some water to a little section here so it's not as dark. Take away a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of rough it up a little. Probably should have taken a smaller brush, but it doesn't really matter. Just to give it a little bit of life. And so it's not as flat. Oh, whoa. Okay, that could have been bad. And we'll just add some life over here as well. And this is going to do too much because it's not that concentrated. It's more water than anything else, but it's just going to kind of break up the paint a bit. Or I hope. We'll see. Let's try. So it did break it up a little bit, but far less than I was expecting. So I'm going to come in with my smaller brush and taking a fairly concentrated, fairly pigmented paint. Less water, more paint. I'm going to come in and kind of rough up like some of these areas. Here, I'm going to give more depth into the darker, and I'm going to be even smaller with the roughing up of these kind of flat areas. And the paint is like, it should just make it appear less flat, which is what I'm going for, without really like bringing attention to it. And then sections in here. I've noticed too that like I put some black on the bottom, but then I did it like very flat, very like straight line-ish. So and because this is the same concentration of paint as is on there, it may or may not show up. I guess we're gonna see on this like darker area. It should show up fairly decently where it's lighter and give it more texture, but it may not show up in the darker areas. It looks like it's more just kind of blending in. So I won't worry too much about the rest, and I'll just kind of concentrate. But I don't want it to just look like little stripes inside. I want it to come from like the darker area. And this was supposed to be lighter. And I kind of failed on that, so I'm just going to add a little bit more paint and see if I can deepen up around it so that it pops out a little bit. And I'm going to accentuate this dark area here. So it does look like it has more interruption. It's not just like a flat area. And I'm just adding a little bit more. And then I'm going to come in and do our little hiker. So he's like around here. And it doesn't actually have to be exact. You just need to know that it's a person, right? I'm just going to build out his backpack a little bit more. Make him a little bit more proportionate. So, kind of looks hikerish. I think I could have done a little bit better on the sky, but I don't exactly hate it either. So, I'm going to call that a win. And see what it looks like when it's not under a bunch of tape. My favorite part. And I think we've got time, so there's another picture that on the site that I found this on that looked really interesting. So maybe we'll get started on that and do like a version of that. What do we think? What do we think? I would bring out the photo again, but I don't really want to compare. Exactly. I think it was able to kind of bring back more of the yellow sky, but I should have actually gone higher. I didn't want this to be green though. I could have had a little bit more purple in these like back layers, but I don't actually think that that looks bad the way that it is. So I'm going to call this one a success-ish. I think it looks good. So I need to remember also to put the photo credit for him. His name was Simon Matzinger. Where's that other? This one. This one is by Rodrigo Soares. And I'm going to print it. landscape, A4, main. Normal. Okay. This one is like a beautiful kind of sunset color. With a very purple sky, a mountain in the background, and a lake or some body of water. With a bunch of rocks in front. And I don't quite know how I'm going to do this one. But I think I'm going to have fun trying to figure it out. So let me get another piece of watercolor paper. Just leave this here so you can look at that while I do some more taping. And I'll let you look at that as well. As I said, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna paint this, but I'm really looking forward to trying to figure it out. You know, trying to build some skills. The only way you can do that is by doing. So today's a doing day. Did I mention that tomorrow's school day? First day of school. I thought it seemed when I first moved here that that's not gonna work. That it was kind of early, but surprise, surprise! Now that I have a kid in school, well, I'm not opposed to that. School has definitely changed since I was in it last, and the first day of school for us was the first week in September after Labor Day. But I don't even think they do that actually in the US anymore. I think they start earlier now. I think we've done enough fun stuff and he's had a good summer. So I'm not going to stress about it. All right. One more piece and then we're done. And then this is what we're going to work on. And if you do not know, you will now. Purple is my favorite color. Favorite color to paint. Favorite color just in life. Okay. Purple is my jam. So, I'm not going to worry about the rocks because we're going to be using grays and like Payne's gray and probably some like very dusty blues mixed with it. I'm not exactly sure. I could come back after when it's still wet and add some white in there to kind of get that top highlight in there. That would just kind of tint the color a little bit and make it more rock-like. I think I'm going to start with the background And I'm going to start with like a really light blue so that that can pop out, and then I'll go on top with purple. And I think also that I will do like a little blue strip here and a blue strip down here, and then kind of maybe start with like the yellow so that can really come through, and just have a big clear like open area between them, and then can fill it in after with clouds. And the water I'm not going to spend too much time with because this is actually quite flat water. I don't really need to add ripples or anything. I'm going to concentrate on the rocks after the fact. I probably will, I don't know. I won't say probably, but I may or may not add as many rocks as is in this photo. Depends on the time, I think, because that'll be like the last part of it. But first we're going to do the background, we're going to do the clouds and this kind of sunset, the mountain, and then rocks. Wish us luck. Okay. Actually, this color that I mixed before will actually be very nice in here for some of the clouds for the sunset. So I just kind of need to get my composition down a little bit more. So I want, let me just grab a pencil so I can kind of plan a little bit. So I'm going to say that the mountain is going to stop around this area. Or so where the water starts is going to be from there. So this will kind of be the mountain. And I'm just lightly sketching so that I have stuff to follow as I'm doing this. Right? So that's going to be the mountain. So the sky will be very short, very small. And then in the foreground, we're going to have some rocks. There's a little one here. Then there's like this big kind of center one. I wish I knew how to draw. So kind of going up like this, and then kind of down and around. There's another little one here. Right over here, there's one that comes out and around. It has a point-ish. And there's a long one. Comes out here. And then goes this way and is kind of underwater. It's not actually that shape at all. So just fix that. But it does come up to like a point here. So it comes up, or like that. And then pretty flat. Pretty flat there. There's another little, I'm not going to be able to fit as many rocks. My scale is way off. So I think I'm going to start and concentrate just on those. There are some other small ones in here. There's another cluster here. Nice square rock. That's not what that looks like at all. Try again. Better, but it's not actually that close. It's actually really far away. So check the size. All right. I think that's probably what we're going to do, and the size may or may not change. So, yeah. I don't actually even think I'm going to erase any of this, so just leave it and paint over it. All right. Let's go in. So the background is just going to be like the lightest values that are on the picture. Really, really light, and I need to make sure that I do this quick enough so nothing dries. So let's jump in. Big brush, a little bit of cerulean, light value. Going to be up here. And then we're going to take some more and we're going to come down here. Really light value. And then, and this is what's going to kind of shine through in some of these like highlight areas. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this mixture from before, and this is going to sit in this area here. And I'm going to just continue with some purple over here. And I'm going to go with some purple down here too. Again, really light values. I'm going to blend in these colors. I think I'm going to take very, very light value pink and come in here. And just blend between them all. I need to come back up here just with some water. Kind of clear out some of this area. And some water with the yellow over here. And coming slowly down into the pink. Just going to keep that nice separation between the yellow and the blue. Make it nice and light, because this is again what's going to pop through. So there'll be even more color on top of it. And I think actually I'll come in here with a little bit darker purple and blend that up into the blue. All right, and that's the background. We've got like 1 hour to do this, and I'm not finish my sentences. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to continue. So I'll probably do a lot of thinking out loud. If you have any questions, of course, ask, but or if you're watching this later, ask in the comments or give advice in the comments. That'd be good too. So I think I'm going to do a lot of thinking out loud and just doing, since we're on a deadline and I'm not sure how to do this. So there. I know it's a pain to wait for the drying, or drying with a heat gun, or no, it's not a heat gun, embossing gun, I guess. But it's actually a lot less time than if we didn't use it, so it's okay. It'll do. All right. So now I need to work on some sky, but I also need to really keep in mind where this mountain is going to go, where the mountain is going to go, and I'm almost thinking that I should work from like this kind of sunset area up. I'm not really sure though, to be honest. I do think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And I think I'm going to switch out my paper as well because it's drenched. Yeah. So I'm just really trying to think. I really want to put in the mountain so that I know what space I have to work with. But it is because it's a struggle for me to figure this out. Um, all right. We're going to go in with a smaller brush. Actually, I think I'm going to use you for now. And I'm just going to do the clouds all in this area. And kind of, yeah, kind of get that area going. This color here is like a purpley maroon kind of color, which will work well. So it's not a complete waste that I messed up. But I'm going to add some bright, bright pink to it. So that it can be more sunset color. And I really did mean like super bright pink. But I'm going to need a lot. Because it's a decent amount of paint on the... Look at that color. There we go. So yeah, I'll do. I think I might come in with just the opera pink and a couple of different areas once it's wet. And kind of define it there a bit. But I'm debating with myself if I want this wet on wet or wet on dry, and I think I'm going to do wet on wet. So I think I'm going to actually just stop. It'll be okay if I have a dry line because there's a nice light patch underneath the mountain. So I'll be able to kind of define that area a bit more. So I don't want to rub this too much because I don't want green. But I think there's where I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to quickly come in with a little bit of this, and we are going to come down here. And then we're going to come up here. We're going to leave some spaces. I'm going to go all the way over here to the end. And then I'm going to come in with some purple on the end. And I will add little bits here and there in this area. And I'm going to tidy this up a bit. I really want to keep that light. I think I'm going to add a little bit bright in there. And I think I'll add just stripes in some of these. And come back in with this color. Make sure I don't lose it all. Kind of control how this is spreading so that it can have a, oops, there's paint on my brush there. There shouldn't have been. So I can have some control. And now up at the top, I'm going to take some Imperial Purple. Get that down there. And I'm going to add in a little Payne's Gray for some dustiness. I'm going to add in some water. And then I'm going to come up and kind of do this kind of cloud base up here. And it will just be like right up at the top. And make sure that I have a separation. So now it's just a matter of like kind of playing with the color a bit and adding some where there should be, removing it where there shouldn't. And I'm kind of limited because, as I said, I don't really have the space to do like the full sky that's in the picture. So it'll just be like the bottom part. And I want some separation for clouds, and I do want it to dip down here. But I don't want it to bleed. So I guess like that. I think I can come in some areas, add a little bit more. It will spread a bit, but not as much because it's not as wet, right? And I'll soften it out with some water. I have to make sure I remember to come in with the purple though too. Not that one. I think I'll take a little bit of this and a little bit of this. And yeah. Come back in over here. Oh, it's more maroon. So stick with this. I think it was the other color purple that I used. Yeah. I need to move very, very quickly because it's a little dry. And I want to make sure that I can come through and blend this color, soften the edges of it. And now just, oh, nope, just a little bit of water. Soften these out. There will be a mountain there, so whatever kind of mistakes I make will be covered. I'm going to keep that sharp in there. Kind of like that, I guess. I think I want to soften from the inside out over here a bit. But I still want to keep like that color, that bright spot there. It's not as yellow as it was, but I'd rather it be like that than I'd rather have the light poking through than the exact color. I don't want to lose that. So just come back over here, soften that out. And one more time along the bottom here. Now this is kind of more wet on dry because it's more dry than not, and I'm just adding variations of colors in the clouds. I want actually to get some more of this purple, and I think I do kind of want to mix it a bit. I'm kind of coming here. More paint than water. Again, the mountain is going to be there, so I'm not too worried. I just want to make sure that I can kind of keep that bright purple, and I don't want it to get muddy, but it's probably already getting muddy. Keep hitting the keyboard too, and what am I doing? So I'm just gonna brighten and kind of deepen. I think I'm gonna pull in some more pink. Add some pink in in here. So it's kind of a good blend between pink and purple. And this will be covered, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. And I'm going to have a line there, but I think I can work that out. Pretty sure I can work that out. I'm going to try anyway. Now I'm going to come in, I think, with more of this kind of dusty purple. Maybe bluish purple. And I'm going to add just some kind of definition. And there was like some clouds that were coming up here. I really want to make sure that I kind of have that angle because it looks more natural. And just give like kind of wispy cloud entities up in here. And so I'm not kind of doing exactly what's in the picture. I'm using it as a guide and adding in then what I feel. And I do like wispy clouds, but they're a little too even and straight from my liking. So just kind of trying to give them some natural interest. So I think I'm going to call that done. And it is not exact, not even remotely exact. But it's close enough. I think I'm just going to try and soften this, just this very top, just a little bit. So it's a little bit more like misty than anything else. Not a lot of hard lines there, or at least up at the top there. Yeah, I think I'm going to call that done there. Give it a quick dry, and then I think I'll put the mountain in. All right. So there's the sky and the sunset done, and now I still can see my guide for where I wanted the mountain. But I also need to kind of follow what I've done. Like I don't want to undo or cover this part here. So I think I'm going to move it down a little bit. And yeah. This is also kind of like a straight layer of, it's like a flat. There's not a lot of movement or tone or anything in it. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. I just need to make sure that I kind of stay with, I don't want to undo all of this. So I'm going to kind of follow the idea of the mountain, but I'm also going to make it so that it fits with the pieces that I've done, you know. I do need to add a little bit more texture, and I don't want it to dry out. And we're going to come up, follow there, down, and then nice gentle increase here. All right. And now this one actually has a fairly straight line. So I'm going to start here and then just kind of try and get as straight as I can. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but and make sure all the paint still stays wet. And I think I'm tilting up a little bit. And as I'm going in and making sure the paint stays wet, I'm just going to add a little variation in the kind of topography of it, just to make it a little bit more realistic, chaotic, I guess. Does that look straight? Yeah. It's kind of straightish, straight adjacent. It's kind of close to being straight. What color did I use? It was indigo. And just gonna deepen some of the top areas here so you can't see the clouds through it, and add more texture. And I think that's pretty good. It's not perfectly straight, right? But it's not all that bad. think I just kind of even that out a little bit. Deepen this area here. All right, so you can still see the sunset through the mountain. I have to say that I'm actually pretty amazed that I've been able to get this far with it. Pretty happy. But now, this area here is kind of more like pinky kind of color. And there's a very light strip from there, like a highlight. Grab the picture again. So there's like a break. There's a light line between the mountain and then the waters. So we need to get this color into like more this area. And then we're gonna have to just bring it down with clean water, and then we could maybe deepen up this area with some purple and blue. Good mix. But first, I really want to stay away from that, so I'm going to dry it and hope I don't bring it down with me. I really desperately do not want to reactivate that. So I think I'm going to come in with a bigger brush and do a wash with this. What color is this now? I think I'm going to add some more pink to it. Maybe a tad of orange. I want to really brighten that up because it's going to be a wash and kind of reflective of what's in there. And ooh, maybe I should do a light orange. Nope. There's like in the picture, there's like where the sun is coming through, there's kind of some stripes through it, which are more like yellow orangish. I think. All right, let's figure this out. This is a really light value, and I'm going to come up right against this and hopefully not touch it. And then this is just going to be the background, so we can go over this again. All right. I am not playing with that anymore. So, a lot of nice clean water. Just blend this down into the blue. I will grab a little blue with a lot of water. And then we can come further down and actually grab a little bit more blue because we want like a blue bluish purple down here. I still want really light value. So I'll do a blend, put some blue down, and then what purple do I want? I think this one. No, I'll just do a mix here with what I have on the, and then blend as I go. Need lots more water. There we go. And then blend this up so it's more purpley blue than blue. And blends down into the purple. Like that. And I'm starting to get some drying lines up there. I'm really not happy about that, so make sure my brush is nice and clean. I'm going to take some clean water and come back up and just kind of re-wet that and pulling color. So I don't want any lines though. I want this to be smooth. And then not too much water, but just enough water to blend it down. And before I tempt fate anymore, I'm going to dry it. All right. So now there's that break, and I have like a light enough color for that break. And how do we do this? We're gonna have to do like a blend from like a purple over here into more like a pinky with the yellow. So I'm gonna get a little bit of this, what did I use? Probably New Gamboge. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and get that over here. And I'm going to add a lot of water because I do not want it to be, I want like the idea of kind of sun rays, but not exact sun rays. And then let me get some purple ready, and we're going more dusty, this pinky. So we can put that on there. And add a little bit of Payne's Gray into it to get more of a deeper, what color would that be? Like plum? No. I would call it like a dusty grape or something. So there's that color, and then we also need some more of this kind of pinky, like this. Maybe I'll mix in some more of that maroon color. All right. So now this is where things get interesting because I have no idea if this is really going to work or not. So I am going to just not put my hand in any water. I'm just going to kind of freehand a gap. The thing is I really need to keep it wet so that I can add some more colors into it, right? So I really need to make sure that it stays wet. And I'm going to bring it over to this. Pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to add water. Please stay wet. And then I'm going to come in with this lighter value, and where there is light up here, I'm going to add it in and kind of drag it down. I have no idea if this is how you would actually, if you're this is the way you're supposed to do it or not, but it's kind of the way that I came up with. So that's essentially kind of where all of those areas are. And then I still need to keep it wet and come back over because this is deeper, right? It's going to blend into this pink. And now, before it gets too crazy and I get a dry line, which I kind of already have, but I'm hoping to work it out, I'm just going to come in with water. And this did not go as I planned. So throw some of that in there. I'll throw a little bit more of the yellow. Come back in with some of the pink over here because that started to dry. We want this to blend. Come back in with a little bit more of the purple. Deepen this up. We wanted that to blend. And more water down here, so no dry lines. But I do want that to just kind of spread, so then I'll come in with my bigger brush and keep going with just wetting, but not like merging, just so I don't get my hair in the painting. So I don't get dry lines, like sharp. This can be a sharp line because it's a very distinct break. And that's the only one that I want. And then this can all just kind of fade down and kind of blend. And then I think I will actually take more water. I want to make sure that I have like a lighter section here before it really turns blue. Make sure that that stays. All right, well, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I think it's a little too much, but I think I'm going to dry it and keep it because I also think that knowing myself, if I try and, fix it, I won't do a very good job. And then I'll be upset. So I'm going to dry it. All right. So I'm not 100% thrilled with that, but I'm hoping once I get some of the rocks in, then it will like fade more in the background and make sense. Now, the bad part is I've gone over this so many times that I've lost my sketches of the rocks. So, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to guess in freehand and maybe pray to a goddess somewhere a little bit. That's the plan. So rocks are mainly grays and browns and whites. I do have some white on my palette that I'm going to just add a little bit more to and reactivate. Because I don't actually want it to be white, I'm gonna expect and hope that it tones down the top and adds like a little bit of a highlight with the color that it is going on top of. So I think I'm going to clear off this pink because now I could really use the space, which is funny because I cleared out a brown to make this pink. So I'm clearing out this pink so I can make a brown. Funny, funny. Could just use the green, but it's okay. So I'm going to start with some burnt umber, and this is going to be a really light value. I'm going to sketch out the rocks with this, and then I'll just keep adding on. Is that light? I think I actually want it a little bit lighter. Yeah. All right. So I don't know. I should actually, before I start that, I should add some water to my indigo and dilute that a little bit. So that can kind of be like the lighter gray. It does have a blue kind of tinge to it. But for for it to fit a little bit more. No, not you. And add just a little bit of purple in there. Okay. And then I can deepen all of those colors as I go along, right? So I'm going to switch brushes. Grab some brown and just kind of try and figure out what it is I'm doing. So there's a little rock here, and that can be there. And then I got this shape wrong, so I'm hoping that I do better this time. And not really. And it comes kind of up and like this, and then down like that. And I'm just going to fill these in. The purple is going to show underneath, and that's right now. Good, fine, no problem. Don't care. And then there's another rock here that kind of comes out this way. And then comes up. A little bit in. There's a bit of a point there. And then it comes down rounded. Down in here. And then I think we're just gonna do like one more big one maybe, and then see how that goes. So behind here, there's another rock that comes up this way. I'm gonna leave a little separation for myself, so I know that it's actually a different rock. And over here, kind of pointy. And then round it out like this. And again, I'm going to leave that space there so that I don't forget it's a different rock, and just fill it in. And I think we'll stay, well, actually, there's another little one up here, and I'm just going to add in for balance. There's a shape like that, comes across, and then comes back in. All right. Those are our rocks. There are a lot more, and I probably will maybe try and add them in. She said, hopefully. I don't know. That's way more red than I was thinking. That's far, far more red than I was thinking. There we go. So between all of these colors, I will kind of fill it in and make them deeper in certain areas. Obviously, the part without the sun is going to be the darkest. And right now, I'm just going to fill that with the brown. because it's the lighter of like, you know, the gray and the brown. And let's see, there is some like here on the top, and then it kind of comes down like that. And then there's more brown over here. Coming up and taking over this whole area. And this is when I'm going to start to kind of encroach on this rock here. I'm just going to follow it down. Fill that in. There's some brown in the front here. Very kind of nondescript and little pieces here as well. There's some lighter brown coming across here, fading out. And I'm going to come in with this gray. So I'm just blending these two, hopefully. And I'm following but not following at this point. Now I'm just kind of winging it where I think color should be and which color. I'm going to give this one in front and add in some gray along here to kind of rough that up a bit so it's not as smooth. And here there will be more gray to show the difference there. And I am going to leave some of this like kind of poking out so that there is some difference on this rock here. But I do want these where it meets to blend, so just going to make sure that I go through and add that there first. And I'll do the same thing where every layer I come in with is a little bit darker. So let's see, there is a big section of white on this rock around this area. So I'm going to drop this in and let this kind of spread. And then there is some more here, and this is not completely dry, so that will spread a little bit here. And then there's just like little pieces. And I'm going to add a little there so that when I come in darker, you can see it, right? Oh, I have paint in my white. There's also some white here. I already did this, but it really faded. And there's like a shelf of it here, and it's just like at the kind of right wetness where it will spread, but it will not spread too much. So kind of stay generally in the area that I put it. That one has a lot of white in there. So let's bring, what did I do? I think this was indigo. And then I added some purple into it too. But I don't think I'm going to do that now. And then I'll bring in some darker brown, or I'll add more pigment to what I have. So it's darker. And then we can kind of reinforce some of the shadow areas. The thing is, rocks are like super craggy, right? So you can't really, I don't want to have like nice clean lines, and you need some chaos in there, right? I need it to be messy. All right. So that's really what I'm just going to be doing, just back and forth with this gray and the brown, kind of letting everything blend. I'm trying to work very quickly so that everything has time, you know, to blend and move a little bit. It's not much of a problem if it doesn't, but that's my hope. Obviously, whatever's on the bottom will be the darkest. And yeah. Just trying to be messy and not overthink too much. The color variations that I have added in will stay. So this one has really dried quicker than I was expecting. So we're in uncharted kind of territory here. So actually, I think I want to kind of blend some of this the brown I'm using, the burnt umber. And I want to add some Payne's Gray into it. Kind of deepen it up a bit now. So it's a really dark brown. So when we come in here, we can kind of get some more colors and texture. Please tell me, for the love of God, please tell me you can tell this is like a rock, right? Right? Please? Does it look like a rock? Mm. The brush wasn't exactly clean, so kind of have like a grayish white. I don't want anything there. I need to add some more color to that one. I really don't like how that white has spread in some areas. So I'm going to kind of clean it up as best I can. Make it messy. Don't want that. Don't want that. So I'm going to dilute what's there. Can always go darker. It's not much of like any kind of definition here, so just going to add some. I think I've gone so far off from what this picture was. Mm, I mean, that's okay, right? It's okay-ish. That I don't mind if it spreads. The rest I can't say I'm really thrilled with. I think some of this white is too much. Even though there's like kind of a lot actually in the picture. I yeah. I think these are just kind of becoming jumbled messes at this point. And I don't think there's really any way to salvage what I've done. So they're going to stay as they are. And then I'm going to come in with this kind of deeper brown. And just going to kind of fake the rest. I'm not going to put in too much. I'm just going to put in like the idea of rocks. All different shapes and sizes, just that they'll kind of make sense. And they'll just be here, right? And then they'll have less definition and be smaller as they go further away. And this is really just to add balance to the picture. Just so there's something. It's not just these main kind of rocks. Come in with different colors. Kind of break them up a little bit. And then as we go further out, they'll be smaller and smaller and darker. And at this point, I've stopped looking at the photo. I'm just kind of adding on where I think some pieces are needed. Trying to vary like shape and so they're not all the same. I think I'll grab some more brown and add some kind of smaller ones up in here. Just so that you can tell there's a lot of rocks, right? Kind of like that. Ish. Okay, I'm really not happy with the big rocks in front. I don't think they look anything remotely close to rocks, but I'm probably being too self-critical because I do that, so I don't know. But I'm going to call that done. And I'm going to stop there. Because I suddenly also hear water. And my son is laughing. If you're a parent, you know, it's probably not a good sign. So, I think I need to end the stream. This was a really good learning experience. I have also learned that I need to paint rocks more and kind of get the idea of what they are, which is funny because I've done rocks with markers and I'm not too bad with that. So that I feel like I failed magnificently on these rocks in the front here. Not really a surprise, but a little bit. All right. I'm really happy with the top. I really love that part. I think that came out rather nicely. And I'm not quite sure. Oh, I can't even think straight with this equipment going on outside. I'm not quite sure that what I did here was the best way to kind of get that coming down. It's actually pretty clear in the photo, but I don't think I did the best representation of it. But I don't hate it either. The rocks in front, maybe I just need time away. I should have come back up in here and deepen this. It is kind of too late now. Maybe I could, maybe just a little. Take this kind of dusty color, and then this will kind of be the only place where there will be movement in the water, but I think if I can kind of slowly bring it down, should be okay. Maybe I'll add a little bit to kind of even it out because it is so kind of like uh, stark compared to everything else. My brush is mostly dry now, so if you're not getting like full brush strokes, which will allow me to kind of just softly smooth out some pieces here. Just add some, yeah, now I'm dead. I'm not dead, but no more paint or water in the brush. So is that, actually, it's not too bad. It's not like it's exactly in the picture, but again, I came into this not having any idea how I was going to tackle this photo, and really, with the exception of the rocks, I think I did not too bad. So it was a really good learning experience. It was a really good practice. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm actually pretty happy with the day. We did pretty good. So we used 2 photos that I just found online, and just painted kind of what we could, right? So maybe it's better if I do this like this. Maybe. I don't know. Overall, pretty happy. A little bit impressed. And a little bit lessons learning. Definitely learned more in this one. But I can't say it's horrible. I can't say either of them are horrible. Yeah. So I'm going to call this a success in painting day. Hooray for me. And I'm going to go figure out what that water sound is and check on my son. I only had 1 interruption, so I think I'll probably have a lot of cleaning to do. But school starts tomorrow, so yay! And on that note, I'm going to end there, and I will be back on Friday. Not sure what we're doing. I did finish those unicorn pieces for the cake, and she was happy, so that's good. And yeah, so I'll be back on Friday. We'll play with something else, maybe do some Copics, not sure. And yeah, have a good middle of the week. I'll see you on Friday. Right. Take care. Have a great one. Bye bye.